Hello, and I have a bug fix that we need to make for our ECS library. It turns out that if we were to attempt to delete our components twice in a row, it would essentially re-add that component. Let's go ahead and verify that that's actually true with a test, and then we'll go ahead and implement the fix for it. So going to create a brand new test here at the bottom of our entities file. So function should not re-add, should be able to delete components. Naming things is hard. Should not add component back after deleting twice. Sort of like a little bit of documentation in here to make sure, like, hey, that, you know, if this happens again, then we know that we've somehow screwed this up, and we've got some kind of like reversion, and we need to fix that. Okay, so first off, we're going to start, just like all of the other tests, we're going to set up entities for ourselves. So that mut entities equals entities default. Then we need to register some components. In this case, let's register 2 components so we can really make sure that it's like that, you know, in a more realistic scenario, like if we have like, you know, a 1 in that position in the map and then another one next to it, so that would be like 3 total, and then we remove one of them, it's either going to be a 1 or a 2. So let's make sure we have something like that. So entities, we're going to register component. In this case, let's register a U32, and let's also register an F32. Once we have that, let's just create a single component or a single entity with both of these components. Okay, so with component, our U32, let's just do something like health, let's say. So it's 100 U32. Okay, that's easy enough. And then we can do another component. Let's say this is something like a location or like a speed. So that could be something like 50.0 F32. Okay, so we've created this entity with 2 components. I should now be able to, and I don't really care about querying for it, so I don't need to do that entire thing. What I can do is just check the map to see it's exactly what we expect it to be. Now we have that sort of part tested separately. So really what I want to do is delete one of them and then just check to see, is it what we expect it to be? So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. I'm going to do entities.delete component by entity ID. We're going to do ID is 0 because it's just the index. And then the component we're going to create, let's create that, let's create the U32. That's what we're going to delete. So if we think here, the U32 is the first one that's registered. So that means it's going to be the 1 in the 1's position. So after we delete it, instead of 3 in the map, it should be a 2. So let's go ahead and just assert equal that that's working as we expect it right now, which it absolutely should be. So assert equal entities.map of position 0. We expect U to be a 2. So if I save U and see what are, oh, there's a result here we need to handle. If we run this, it works. Okay, excellent. That's exactly what we wanted. Now the report that we got was that there's the error is that if we delete a second time, then it's going to re-add the component back in, which makes the map be a 3. So let's now delete you a second time, and now we want you to be a 2, but we're a little bit worried this is going to be a 3. Oh, and it is. Look at that. Left is 3, right is 2. So what exactly is going on here? Why is that happening? Let's come up here and take a look. Okay, so in our delete component by entity ID, we get our type ID, we get our mask, and then we figure out, oh, okay, we do this XOR. So the XOR is basically saying if you have this, remove this. But the problem with XOR is, and I'm curious, I think here's like, this is JavaScript, but JavaScript and Rust both share a lot of the same bitwise operations. So we should be able to do very similar things here. Let's say that we have a map that is a 3, and we do a and equals to a 1, and we run that. Oh, I need to like do something like console log. Oh, that won't let me. I need to actually assign this into something. So like var, I don't know, like the map equals 3, and what was it? The not equals 1. Oh, it doesn't like, oh wait, no, I know what I'm having. I have to set it to 3, and then I can do map that equals to 1. And we see, okay, it's a 2. But if I do this again, it's back to a 3 again, because it's basically just saying, hey, and or. It's, do you not have this? Add it in. Do you have this? Remove it, which is really nice, but that's not exactly what we want it to be. So we need to figure out a way to tell if it exists in there. And if it does, don't do that. So that's sort of like coming back into here and saying, okay, so if, I'm just going to do a little bit of pseudocode here. If essentially map has component. So if map has component, then I want to delete this. Okay, so let's figure out how to tell if something has it without actually updating the thing. So I have the console log map here, so we should be able to tell what this does here. I want to do this map at this point. Let's do a or, and if I do that, we'll see, okay, I get a 2 with this 1. That's not exactly what it is. I think that's the opposite, where it's showing me what doesn't match. What if I do an and? So the and should be checking if the ones are aligned together. So and here. And we have we should really be console logging this. Okay, so that's a 0. So and 1, because the 1's position doesn't line up. If we have a 2, the 2's do line up. So the 1 and the 2. Okay, so we want to use an and here. If we did an or, it'd be the opposite. We would not be getting what we want. So let's do the and. So map has component. We kind of have everything that we need here. So self.map of index, and then it's just gonna be a single and then our mask. Now we can check to see if this is 0, we don't want to do anything at all. But if it's equal to the mask again, then we know we do want to delete it. Okay, so you're equal to this, then do this thing. Okay, so let's save that, head back down here, and rerun this test. And now it's passing. Okay, so is there anything we want to do to like make this a little bit nicer? Creating this into a function might be nice, because then we can basically hide some of this complexity in behind like a name, essentially giving this a label. So instead of having to document this with some like, you know, if this exists, if the component has this has the mask of the entity, what if I were to create, so just a private function here, has entity. I guess it would be has component. Has component, this would just be a reference to self. We probably take this type ID, probably take the type in or the type ID, because we kind of need the mask to delete it. So yeah, we'll take in the mask. We'll take in the mask and we'll just return a Boolean, true or false. So take in a mask. Now in this case, we know that the mask is a U32, and we'll return a Boolean. So all we need to do is this thing right here. So copy U, just throw U straight in there. So self.map of index. Oh, we need the index too. So index is going to be a U size. And then you don't need to be destructured there. We're going to do that above. Okay. Then we're going to use this. So delete component. So here we're going to say self dot has component, pass in our index, pass in that mask, but we do have to dereference it. And then we can go ahead and do this entire thing. We could also put this into another function too. Let's go ahead and run this test again, make sure it's still working. And it is. Okay, excellent. So then our very last thing to do is just to run all the tests, make sure that they're still working. And then we can go ahead, bump the version, push this up. It will auto deploy as soon as that's done because of those the GitHub actions, and then we'll be good to go. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the whatever the next video is. Thanks. Bye.